Superman has always been synonymous with hope and unbreakable strength. But what if he finally broke? In a moment of uncontrollable rage, with anger threatening to destroy everything around him, Superman is now in a battle that could cost him more than his sanity. I'm Andrew the Geek Master, and in this video we're going to see the conclusion of the first arc of Superman in this new phase of DC All-In. To not miss stories like this one, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let's get started. As we saw in the last chapter, Radiant launched a massive energy blast at Jimmy Olsen, and Superwoman Lois Lane rushed toward her friend to save him. The truth is, if the Time Trapper hadn't stopped time, Lois wouldn't have been able to save Jimmy, though she tries to convince herself otherwise. Now that time is stopped, Lois knows that the Time Trapper wants to offer her the same deal he gave Superman. The villain desires someone to kill him, so he can transform into some kind of god. To convince her, the villain says that when he was Doomsday and Superman killed him for the first time, the last sound he heard was Lois's sadness and her tears. He knows Lois cares about the future, and now she has the chance to avoid a dark fate if she kills him one last time. Lois doesn't find this argument convincing, so the villain offers to show her the future. He can show her the exact moment of her death, everything that's going to happen. He thinks Lois won't resist this offer. After all, she's the Inquisitor of Truth. However, to the villain's surprise, Lois not only refuses the offer but also lands a super punch that draws blood, showing her determination. This bold move infuriates the Time Trapper completely, as if Lois doesn't understand what he can do to her. But Lois reveals that when Superman and Doomsday fought, she didn't cry over Superman's death. She cried because he died doing something he hated, taking a life. Besides that, even with all his powers, here is the Time Trapper begging for help. He needs them, so he won't really hurt them. And indeed, the villain agrees with her words. He won't hurt the people he needs, but he doesn't care what happens to others. He reveals that when he stopped time for Superman, he gave Clark a few extra seconds so he could save Lois from a Doomsday attack. But with Lois, he won't show such mercy. He snaps his fingers, and time is immediately restarted. With that, Lois flies as fast as she can to stop Radiant's attack from hitting Jimmy, but it's too late. Both Jimmy, Silver Banshee, and Lois herself are hit by the energy blast. Afterward, we only see Lois mourning the event, while Jimmy's camera is completely destroyed, symbolizing that something very bad has happened. Meanwhile, Superman and Doomsday continue their violent battle against Radiant. The hero tries to control his red levels, that uncontrollable anger he's feeling due to red kryptonite, but without success. Seeing Superman out of control, Radiant attacks him even more and tries to redirect Superman's rage towards Doomsday, claiming that Doomsday's actions have not only harmed Metropolis, but caused great destruction for decades. It's at this moment that the Time Trapper finally appears before Superman and provokes him about what's happening. However, his appearance only makes Superman even more furious. With his eyes glowing red with rage, Clark faces the villain, demanding to know what he's done. Superman then lands a series of punches on the Time Trapper, which actually incites Superman to attack him even more, because that's exactly what the villain wants. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor goes to check what her father is doing to help the situation. And indeed, Lex is working on a way to end all this madness. But for that, he says he's going to need his old war suit. Out there, members of the Super Family like Supergirl, Lana Lang, and Steel are doing what they can to try to contain Radiant's army and protect the civilians, but it's impossible to do everything at once. We can see that despite everyone's efforts, many people are being hurt, and the situation doesn't seem like it's going to get any better. Until suddenly, Lex Luthor appears with a big weapon on a ship piloted by Mercy, claiming he has a plan. But for it to work, they need to keep Doomsday and Radiant away from the civilians. Mercy is impressed by this new attitude of Lex, while Lois asks him not to do anything until Superman is also safe. but Superman is still out of control and in the middle of the battle. So, Lois uses her super speed to grab Clark and pull him out of the fight with the Time Trapper. Radiant, who had been using all his power to face Doomsday, notices the strange movement of the heroes. They're pulling away from the fight, but it's too late. It's at this moment, with everyone safe above the city, that Lex Luthor hits Doomsday and Radiant with a weapon based on Brainiac's technology. He also fires it at Radiant's army, and the result is that they are all shrunk and imprisoned inside a bottle, just like Brainiac always did. Lex believes that if Brainiac was able to imprison Kryptonians in there, this method can also contain Doomsday. Superman, now a bit calmer, is skeptical about this, but Lex and Mercy reveal that time has slowed down inside the bottle city. So if Doomsday dies due to the slowed time, he might adapt in unpredictable ways. This is when Lois and Clark realize that this could be the first step that will turn Doomsday into the Time Trapper. This idea makes Clark realize that trapping Doomsday in the bottled city was a mistake. Lex insists that saving everyone always comes with a cost, but before they can argue more, Lena reveals that Jimmy isn't doing well. Yes, at this very moment, Jimmy is critically injured and in a coma at Metropolis General Hospital, while Silver Banshee hopes for his recovery. Clark goes to the hospital in civilian clothes with the Whites and visits his friend Jimmy, whom the doctors say will recover, but it will take a long time. Lois couldn't visit Jimmy because she blames herself for what happened. She stays outside in her Superwoman costume, and when Superman comes to comfort her after visiting Jimmy, she starts telling him that she made an important decision, and that's why Jimmy got hurt. But before she can say what happened, they are suddenly attacked by Silver Banshee, who uses her sonic scream while blaming Lois for what happened to Jimmy. The man she loves is in a coma because he was desperately trying to take a picture of Superwoman, who is actually Lois, and it was Lois herself who sent Jimmy to take that picture. As we know, Supercorp is the one protecting Lois's secret identity, and she never told even Jimmy. So, Silver Banshee just came to warn Lois that from now on, she is Superwoman's archenemy. As soon as Banshee leaves, Lois wants to go after her, but Superman knows this isn't the right moment. In her pain, Lois starts to think this could be the beginning of the dark future the Time Trapper spoke of. She now knows that it will be their choices that bring about that dark future, and for the first time in her life, she's afraid of what's to come. Meanwhile, in deep space, General Zod continues traveling on his ship, and an alien doctor examines him, confirming that his powers have completely vanished. The doctor believes this happened because it's been so long since Zod was under the yellow sun. Either way, the doctor promises to keep Zod's secret. General Zod knows this is true. The doctor won't tell anyone because he himself simply kills the alien by violently crushing his head. And to wrap things up, we see the Time Trapper returning to the end of time, where this arc began. As we know, the only living beings in this time are the Time Trapper and Superman. The Time Trapper calls out for Superman, saying that even the hero of the past refused his offer. He insists that Superman kill him so that he can become a god while they still have time to do so. Because when Darkseid returns, things will get even worse, and at that moment, Superman will crawl in asking for his help. Unfortunately, Superman isn't here. Instead, the Time Trapper is attacked by some beings who tell him he was wrong to try working with the wrong side. On the last page, we discover that his attackers are Lightning Lad, Cosmic Boy, and Saturn Girl from the Darkseid Legion of the Absolute Universe. For those who don't know, Darkseid recently created a new Earth, Alpha World, also known as the Absolute Universe. The heroes of the main Earth have been investigating this new Earth he created, but the only one who made it there was Booster Gold. As soon as he arrived on this new Earth, he was shocked to see a legion of superheroes serving Darkseid. And now, we see members of this same legion, apparently in the future of the main Earth. They even say that they'll give the Time Trapper what he wants. They'll kill him, but only after they get all his information about this Superman. This was an excellent start to an arc and a link to the current events in DC. The story was great, full of action with a well-written script, and it was also accompanied by the amazing and beautiful art by Dan Mora. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, share, and of course, subscribe to the channel for more analyses like this. Thanks for watching and see you in the next adventure.